Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Leo. A life coach. I am a psychology student, and I'm an artist. And I want to come and talk to you guys about something I've been thinking about. And what it is one of my most transformational moments that I experienced in my life within the last 3 years. And so this is the story about after I had became homeless, and how that led up to me getting my first place completely to myself ever since my first apartment. So when I became homeless, I was pretty much house hopping. I was homeless for a little over a year, right? I was house hopping. I was going from this house to that house. And I remember when I first became homeless, it was just like so devastating and frustrating to me because, for one, I had lost literally everything I had owned. Lost it all. And on top of that, I'm used to being a very independent person. And now I'm having to depend. I had opened myself up to depending on my significant other in that time. And now I'm having to open myself up to depend on, family and friends. And I really could have just stayed to myself and did it on my own. But I was led to open myself up to depending on my family and friends. Now, mind you, I had a lot of pride. I had a lot of pride at the time. When I had first became homeless, I was living with my dad, and at the time, my thing was like, okay, I'm gonna clean up after myself. I'm gonna do things for myself. I ain't gonna go out of my way and do no extra nothing for nobody else. I'm gonna just make sure that I'm taking care of myself so that they don't have to do no extra for me. And at the time, I'm like, okay, well, that's the right thing to do, But I didn't realize that having that mindset was very selfish. And, and then it came to a point where me and my dad's wife kind of got into it. She got frustrated because I told you guys this before, I didn't clean some dishes. And so I wasn't being kicked out of my dad's house at that time, but I had made the decision because of my pride. I had made the decision that I was gonna leave because I didn't want to deal with that. So I had made that decision, and when I left, I was sleeping in my car for a while. I got a storage unit, and you guys could probably go back on my TikTok page, probably in like the beginning of my TikTok page. You would see that, I was doing a lot of readings, like tarot readings in my storage unit. I was doing a lot of work in my storage unit. I spend a lot of time in my storage unit. I would have slept there if I could have, but, you can't sleep in the storage unit. So, I would spend a lot of my time in the storage unit, and then at night, I would sleep in my car in the Walmart parking lot. And, that taught me something about myself. That taught me that, even in the most what's the right word? Even in the most, I can't think of the right word, y'all. But in situations where, it's not the best situation, even in tight situations, I'll just say that, how I can make something work for me. I can figure something out. Might have to be creative, but I can figure something out enough to make it work for me. And then at that time, one of my friends, who I'm no longer friends with now, she was concerned because it was getting cold, so she invited me to stay with her. And at first I had turned her down, like, no, I feel like I need to just stick it out with what I'm doing. And she proposed to offer a couple times. So it was like, well, okay, I appreciate you allowing me to stay here. So I'll take this offer. And I took that offer. And, you know, stuff happened. Stuff happens with that. I don't want to even get into because now it doesn't even matter. But sorry guys, so watching, make sure somebody's crossing the street correctly. But anyways, yeah. So then that whole situation happened, and I ended up not living with her for a while. Like I said, I was house hopping. I was living with a few different friends, and finally had to live with my mom. I was avoiding living with my mom for the longest, y'all. I was avoiding her for the longest because I knew that with living with my mom, you know, I had never wanted to go back in that environment. Because I grew up with my mom, and it was a very hostile environment when I was younger. And, you know, living with her created me to be the person who I was at that time. The person who I am today, you know. And the person that I was, you know, I knew that I still had some things to deal with. Selfishness and not so much greed, because I was never a greedy person, but like, you know, why I've always been kind of selfish, and why I've always been very independent and focused on myself. All I can do is take care of myself. Is because in living with my mom, you know, I was made to take care of everyone except for myself. And so I avoided living with my mom for the longest, y'all. And then it came a point in time when I couldn't avoid it any longer. You know, I had nowhere else to go, and it was cold outside. And so I had to live with my mom, and I was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable. I was avoiding this spot for the longest. And I just remember it was this moment where, you know, I had just started working my job full time. I was getting paid really good. And while I was living with my mom, I was just so uncomfortable because there was really not a space for me to live. I had a bed, you know, she had a bed for me to sleep in. But where I was sleeping was upstairs in the attic with my brother, and his room is literally on the other side of a wall. You know, and so it's like my room is out here in the open. I don't really have no space to myself. And I remember just laying there, and I was so uncomfortable. Like I had a pain in my back, and I made a TikTok about this, y'all. And I was sitting there, and I was laying there, and I was praying to God, like, Lord, why am I going through this uncomfortability? Like, when am I going to get my house? At this time, mind you, guys, like I said, I had been working. I had saved up a lot of money. I could have saved up more money, but I didn't. But I had saved up a lot of money, and I was managing my money very well. And you know, I was ready to find my own apartment. I was ready to move out, get my own space. And I had been looking for an apartment for 2 months. 2 months. And I was just praying to the Lord, like, Lord, why is it taking so long for me to find this place? Like, what is it that I need to learn here? And they literally spoke to me at that moment. And I don't remember exactly what they said, but I remember that I was told to relax. And I had to relax into the bed, and I kind of just let my muscles go and relax into the bed. It was like, at that moment, I was still uncomfortable. I was still very much uncomfortable, but I wasn't so anxious. I was okay. And I had realized in that moment that, you know, even through the uncomfortability, you can relax into it, knowing that I'm protected, knowing that I'm guided, and be present in the moment. You know, I was so anxious, like, man, I'm ready to get out of here. I'm ready to go, you know. And I was also having these thoughts that was running through my head. I had realized this too. I was having these repetitive thoughts running through my mind about, you know, things that I needed to let go, things that I needed not to worry about anymore. It was negative thoughts, negative ways I was talking to myself, negative ways I was looking at my situation, my circumstances, instead of being in the moment and appreciative that I was still here, that I still had a breath, that I still had the ability to feel the uncomfortability that I was feeling. And so I tell you all this to tell you that, you know, whether you're going through homelessness or you've experienced it in the past, one of the most key things that I've learned, even if you've never experienced homelessness before, one of the most key things I've learned from that experience is that, you know, even in the uncomfortability, you can sit there, take a breath, relax into it, and become present, become aware of the thoughts that's running through your mind, and you have full ability. You know, you might not be able to control the circumstances, but you have full ability on your reaction to that circumstance and the feeling that you create for yourself. And so that's what I wanted to share with you and let you guys know and uplift you guys that, you don't have to be held down by your circumstance. You don't have to be held back by your circumstance. But you have full ability to take ownership on how you are viewing that circumstance and the emotions that you're creating within yourself. You have to take responsibility for that, because that responsibility belongs to nobody else but your own. Those are your feelings. And the moment that you say, oh, he or she made me feel like this thing made me feel like that, you gave away your power. You gave away your control over yourself. You no longer have that control. And so it's very important. It's very important. I hope that this message helped somebody, uplift you, encourage you. If it did, I would have really appreciated you guys if you liked this video. If you love this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. And make sure you share it with somebody that could really help them. Also, I want to share with you guys, if you really want to get to know not only who you are in the spirit, not only who you are in this physical world, but who you are in your spirit, who the Lord says that you are, who the almighty higher being says that you are, I want to invite you on a 5-day challenge. There's an email challenge. You can sign up down below in the description. It's called I Am Challenge. You'll get 5 days of email content, and you get a journal. You're going to get a daily devotional and prompts, and you can go through it, and it should uncover to you exactly who the Lord says that you are. I invite you in for that challenge. If you're so willing to take the challenge. And until next time, guys, I know it's pretty dark, so let me get off of here. It's Leo. I love you. Bye.